What's up, brand builder? I'm Bonigala, and welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show. In this episode, understanding your buyer's journey to increase sales. Any kind of marketing endeavor starts with and should start with understanding how your buyers actually come to buy your services or products that you're trying to market. This process a buyer goes through from needing something and ultimately making the purchase is called the buyer's journey. And it is one of the fundamental pillars of our brand immersion methodology, brand immersion marketing methodology at Spellbrand. Now, to clearly illustrate this journey and how it impacts your marketing efforts, I have chosen an example of my own buyer's journey in purchasing a camera for my travels. Now, I love to travel and do so at every opportunity. My favorite destinations are in Europe, and I love taking tons of photos during these trips. Now, there are three stages of a buyer's journey: the awareness stage, the consideration stage, and the decision stage. We will explore each of these stages in detail. First, the awareness stage. Every buyer's journey starts with the awareness stage, during which a buyer would have realized and expressed the symptoms of a potential problem or opportunity. In this case, my problem was the heaviness of my Canon 7D DSLR camera that I've had for quite some time, and which traveled with me around the world. Eventually, the camera started becoming a hindrance due to its bulkiness and the several different lenses that I had to take along with me. So my pain point, a heavy camera means I cannot take as many photos as I used to, and hence have regrets not capturing experiences as much as I would like to. So in the awareness stage, buyers would start some research focused on vendor neutral third party information around identifying problems or symptoms. In my case, I started researching for alternatives to the DSLR, which would give me the same kind of quality photos and control over the camera, such as being able to set the aperture or shutter speed and all that, but also be able to carry it easily with me. During the awareness stage, buyers usually read editorial content, blogs, articles, or educational content, usually blogs, analyst reports, research papers, e-guides and e-books, expert content, and white papers. In my case, I found several useful articles on travel photography, equipment that is being used, experiences, suggestions, and how people achieved stunning photos that they were proud of using smaller cameras. Keywords that are typically used during the awareness stage are troubleshoot, issues, resolve, risk, upgrade, improve, optimize, prevent, and so on. So the key takeaway for your business is, for attracting buyers in the awareness stage, write blog posts or articles on industry specific, useful topics, focusing on educating your buyer, not on your product or service, but rather on general pain points. For example, if you're a clothing brand and sell stylish gentleman clothes, then you could write blog posts or ebooks on seven, timeless fashion tips for young men, or how and when to wear a blazer as opposed to a suit jacket, and so on. So the objective of these is not to sell anything, but rather to give away free information which is of value to your buyers. This will establish trust with your buyers as well as elevate your brand to the status of an expert or authority in the minds of the buyers. Next comes the consideration stage. Having clearly defined and giving a name and shape to the problem or opportunity, the buyer is now committed to researching and understanding all of the available approaches or methods to solving their defined problem or opportunity. In my case, having realized that I had a problem with the weight or bulkiness of my DSLR camera, and having read up on how people take amazing photos without the use of DSLRs on their travels, I wanted to find out more about the various compact cameras that people were using and what features were required to bridge the gap between DSLRs and compact cameras or point and shoot cameras. Typically, in the consideration stage, buyers would read comparison white papers, expert guides, live interactions, web cases, podcasts, and videos. In my case, I started reading up on all the various brands of cameras that had high-end compacts with features similar to the DSLR. This included watching videos of people claiming to get DSLR quality photos from compacts, vacation videos, experimental videos, and so on and so forth. Keywords that are typically used during the consideration stage are solution, provider, service, supplier, tool, device, software, appliance, and so on. The key takeaway for your business is for attracting buyers in the consideration stage, write blog posts or offer ebook downloads on topics which actually help your buyer structure a solution in their minds. Again, here you're not selling them anything yet. You're not offering any discounts or coupons, and there's no sales speak here. Taking the same example above, if you are a clothing brand, then you could be writing about topics such as how to buy a casual summer button-down shirt, or the ultimate guide to the bow tie, and so on. You will notice that these pieces are more directly associated with items that you may be selling. Finally comes the decision stage. Having defined their solution strategy, method, or approach, the buyer would start researching supporting documentation, data, benchmarks, or endorsements to make or recommend a final decision. In my case, I started comparing cameras in similar categories with different brands such as Canon, Sony, Lumix, Olympus, and so on. Typically, during the decision stage, having made up their mind to make a purchase, buyers would read vendor comparisons, product comparisons, case studies, trial downloads, product literature, and even opt for live demos. In my case, I was looking for benchmarking reports or videos that proved which of the brands was better. At the forefront were Canon and Sony. Since I already had a Canon camera and two more prior to the 70, I was more inclined towards the Canon G16 and the Canon PowerShot G15. Keywords that are typically used during the consideration stage are compare, versus, comparison, pros and cons, benchmarks, reviews, test, complaints, issues, and so on. In my case, a series of videos I found on YouTube, crafted and curated by Sony, showed me the merits of their Sony RX100 Mark II camera, which was being touted as the best compact camera ever. These videos included in-depth feature reviews by Sony, unboxing and testing videos by the general public, and in-depth camera comparisons and reviews by Sony affiliates. And although the RX100 was around a couple of $100 more expensive than Canon alternatives, I pulled the trigger and bought the Sony RX100 M2. The power of inbound marketing. So the key takeaway for your business: for enabling buyers in the decision stage to choose your brand, service, or product, write in-depth comparisons between your service and perhaps your product and your competitors. Showcase examples of your service or product. List customer testimonials or videos. Create videos that test your service or product, and so on. So going back to the clothing brand example, you should post lookbooks, pairing together various pieces of garments that you sell, and build stories around how well they go together and what the buyer can or would experience and feel. Write about the process each garment goes through and the quality materials that you use. Write about or make videos of your handmade items and the care and the passion that goes into each piece or item, and so on. Now, here is a great example of a video that showcases the passion of this brand. Hopefully by now, you appreciate the importance of the buyer's journey and how it helps you generate content that is appropriate to each stage and how it fits the psychology of the buyer in that stage. Remember, brand immersion marketing is all about the pull of inbound marketing and not about the push and interruption of the traditional marketing methods. Now, it's been quite a while since I bought my Sony RX100 M2, and I've already tested it out on my on my on many trips, most recently to Madrid and Toledo in Spain. And I must admit that I'm loving it. It sits quietly in my pocket and I whip it out at every opportunity. It lets me have full manual control of the features and I can tweak and configure every aspect to get the right photos depending on the available on the available light and so on. The best part is that I do not have to lug around a 5 kilo shoulder bag anymore. And I felt a new sense of freedom during sightseeing. Now here are a few photos from that trip. I hope you found this episode useful. If you have questions about this episode, please hit me up on Twitter. My handle is @Bonigala, or leave comments below this video and I will surely respond. And if you haven't already done so, please don't forget to subscribe to the Brand Builder Show channel so that you'll be alerted when my next episode comes out. Till my next video, take care.